What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 8 of Meet the Critters. We're going to be switching it up a little bit coming up here. We're changing the format a little bit of the show. Originally, we were kind of going to go through once a week, break down a different breed of livestock, history, meat quality, all that kind of stuff. But instead, what we're going to change it to is me talking to a homesteader, a farmer, a producer, somebody who raises animals for meat. And some of them will be like breed based. It's like, yeah, this person breeds this animal because of all of these reasons. But overall, it'll be like, hey, we're going to talk to everybody about how they do things because everyone does it a little different. And to start off that trend, we brought Josh. The old easy button.
You guys have never seen me before? New show, who dis? Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, no, cool. Glad you had me on. I was not sure exactly what I'm going to talk about as far as the breeding and stuff like that goes, but hey, we'll roll with it.
Exactly. And that's what I've
doing it off and on for like 8-9 years ish, and it comes and goes, and I don't do as much as I used to as far as the livestock, but at least not for myself.
Well, exactly. And like the other part of this is what I was thinking was of having you on too. This is going to be like, yeah, we're going to talk to you about what you're doing, but this is also going to be out to everyone who does listen. Mm-hmm. And like you and me can talk back and forth, kind of bust back ideas I've had. And it's like, hey, like write in the comments if you like it, if you want to keep if you actually want to see that, hear that. So, yeah, I figured we'd just start.
Give Kyle all your criticism in the comments.
Exactly.
Be sure to let him know what you think.
Yeah. I'm open to criticism.
He enjoys it, actually. We were just talking about that. He's a masochist. He likes it.
Yes.
Down to it. He likes it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I'll do a little off the top here. Just stuff going on here. If you're following the channel, I've been working on that back pig pasture for the past couple weeks, and we finally got it closed in. So nowhere near done, but I'm sure you know from building pens and stuff like that, as soon as you are able to put a gate and lock it, it is such an overwhelming, like, oh, I did it. Holy shit.
I can put something in here now.
Exactly.
There may be work left to do, but oh my God, it's actually a paddock.
Exactly. Like I said, there's still so much work I need to do. So much.
That's the problem with fencing. You're never done.
No.
You're never done.
No. Something I adopted the last big project I did is because I'm like having to reuse T-posts. So I'm knocking all the old insulators off. And thanks for coming, Lisa. Oh yeah, we've got a little bit of rain, not a ton, but on and off the past couple days.
It's been off.
Completely lost that one. Pig pasture, electric.
Pig pasture.
Yeah, we still need to do a bunch of electric work on it and kind of get that all set up. Oh, what I adopted the last time. So I'm reusing all the T-posts with insulators and everything. So instead of just having a receptacle with me all the time, I just have small piles all along the fence line of where I just have it's just a pile of old insulators and cut off electric line and like all the random shit. So I'm not just like carrying everything around with me, but then
just have a stash
up in like a half a day of you just to the point where you got to get like the tractor out and move it from spot to spot just to load everything up. But it is 1,000 times easier.
That makes sense. You just leave yourself little caches of stuff along the way.
Yeah,
the only thing that sucks is you got to clean that up when you're done.
Exactly. That's the shitty part. But this paddock, I think, is right around close to 3 acres. I think. So I've walked that perimeter so many times already that I'm like,
which 3 acres doesn't sound like much until you have to walk it and fence it. Yeah, then it's a lot.
96-degree heat.
Yeah, you guys are actually getting your summer finally.
Yeah, with no tractor. We redneck that one. We redneck that one good.
Yep. It happens. It happens, man. I'm just used to it. It's like that 96-degree weather's the majority of the year here. So
Yeah. No, and now today I'm in a sweatshirt because I don't think it got above 50 today. Yesterday it was 97. It was 48 degrees all day.
Wow.
Yeah. Like New Hampshire's nuts.
Yeah.
We're forgotten up here.
We would get that way in the Midwest quite a bit too, especially early on in spring. You'd go from the heat to cold, back and forth until it sort of settles in. But yeah. And I mean, Texas weather's crazy, but not 48 one day, 90 something the next, most of the time. But if we do get that kind of shit, it's in February. So
right. Well, it's like we have a saying up here,
June.
and I don't know if it's other places too, but we have a saying up here where it's like, I'm glad I live in a place where only the wind hurts my face. Like,
yeah,
because it's like we don't like we had like a small earthquake the other day, which was freaking weird, but we don't have like the crazy natural disasters. It's like, no, you're just cold for like 8 months and could be snowed into your home. But other than that,
like where I'm at, it's not too bad. You could get a tornado, but that can happen literally anywhere in the country, you know.
Right.
I'm far enough north from the coast that hurricanes don't really affect me. It's just I can get some thunderstorms after a hurricane, you know.
Right.
Probably the biggest threat to me as far as natural disasters where I'm at would be in a really bad dry year, wildfires.
Yeah. We actually just had one up the mountain here the other day.
That's the thing. It's like there's nothing really special here that like this is a bad area. Some bad shit goes on, you know. So if I was about 100 miles south, some of the shit that's hit down by the coast in Texas has been bad last couple of years. But yeah. Anyway, sidetracked.
Isn't that the entire podcast? Isn't that both of our podcasts?
Generally.
We have a topic and then we just get sidetracked. So
that's the fun part about podcasting, you know.
Exactly.
It's a conversation, not a speech.
Exactly. But to get back into the podcast, let's just start out with what do you got? Like, what do you have on hand at the moment?
I've got a bunch of screaming geese outside. You might hear them occasionally. Right now, mostly a bunch of poultry. I do have a pig that he's still around. Mostly I just don't want to not have a pig. I've got one goat that does a little bit of lawn work for me. I've got a pasture pet horse that's just there. One of those said, I got a lot of just strays. A couple dogs and cats and stuff, but mostly the poultry is what I've kind of focused on. I've looked into doing stuff like sheep or whatnot at some point. I've thought about cattle, and I've got space for it. I just don't have the areas cleared, fenced, and ready to go. And as you know, that's a lot of work. So I'd love to do some more pasture pigs eventually. That's going to be probably my next big livestock goal will be get a better spot set up for pigs. And that's the only reason I don't have a bunch of pigs right now is because I know I need a better spot and I need to move from where they've been to where they're going to go before I do that. But I also love having them around so much. I don't want to get rid of this guy until I've got more pigs because I don't feel guilty if there's leftovers in the fridge to go off. So,
yeah, exactly.
Pigs are just but as far as the poultry goes, I've got mostly a bunch of barnyard mixes right now. I moved away from trying to go with specific breeds to more of just the land race kind of model when it comes down to it.
I tend to agree when it comes to livestock, like definitely, or poultry, definitely. I'm like,
when it comes to like profitability, if you want to sell something, if you want to like, I want to raise these to sell them, the money is in having a specific breed generally, yes. But my goal shifted from having a bunch of fun different chicken breeds at first to I want things that stay alive without me having to try to work really hard to keep them alive, whether it be due to the weather or local just diseases or whatnot too. Like, I don't know if you guys get issues with it much there, but it's this time of year, it gets a little bit wet and the mosquitoes start coming out and fowl pox is an issue. And
I've never had that up here. No.
Yeah. It's literally it's chicken pox, but chickens can get it, you know,
that's crazy.
It's ironic. But so the first couple of years, I'd lose at least half the birds. They get little black spots all over them or whatnot. And if they survive it, it's exactly like chickenpox. If they survive it, they're immune and they're fine. So what I finally started doing was, all right, I'm only breeding the ones that survived. And I also, anytime I brought in new stock, I started only bringing in new stock as much as possible from local. Like I originally started out buying feed store chicks, ordering eggs on eBay, all these fun, cool breeds. Because when you get into it,
right, you're like, chicken math is a real thing. You start out with 6, and then you got 76, and like
everybody wants a freaking blue lace red Wyandotte. They all want the Bielefelders. They want all the funny fancy breeds.
My favorite are the silver lace Wyandottes.
Oh yes, yep.
They're awesome.
Great. But if I wasn't sourcing something that was like somebody's local yard birds, shit was dying left and right. They just were fragile. Like they're not bad birds, but they're not acclimated to my climate. They're not genetically acclimated to the local, just the local pathogens. Their immune system isn't developed to be here, or the weather, or any number of things. So I started focusing more on what does best for my goals. And my goals when it comes to poultry are not heavily on the meat side. Because, given my profession, I don't have that hard of a time getting meat.
Right.
And I don't enjoy processing poultry.
No.
So I don't want to focus on that as a goal. Right. So I focus more on the egg side and hardy birds that are sustainable for me to raise and hatch myself if need be, and are good for pest control, are good foragers. Right. So I'm not ever looking at raising something like Cornish cross or a replacement. If they can be a little bit dual purpose, great. So for chickens, what I've settled on most recently have actually been mostly a cross between Brahmins and naked neck or turkey. They look fucking weird, but they're.
How have you not sent me a picture of these goddamn?
Oh, things? I'll have to send you some pictures. I posted some pictures in the Telegram group that's gone now, but I've got some pictures I'll send you. And they're super cool because Brahmins they get pretty good size,
right? And
they're decent meat birds. They take forever to get to that size, but they're decent meat birds. So if you do have to cull one, you get a good yield. But they're also super chill. Like you very rarely have an aggressive rooster, and you can cull it out pretty easy. And the Turkins, the naked necks, man, they grow faster. They have 50% of the feathers, which helps them. Ironically, they're better at handling heat and cold than most other chickens. It's crazy. What happens is since they have 50% of the feather mass, they put more energy into both their immune system and growth. There's a weird thing, and there's studies on this too. Not only are they just more resilient and more resistant to disease than most other chicken breeds, they, if you cross them with like a meat breed chicken, if they carry that naked neck gene, because it's weird how the genetics come out in it. If they actually carry that gene, it's something like 40% faster growth on the meat side.
Really?
It's weird. It is. So if you cross one of these naked neck chickens, say there's really two types. I don't really say two types, but it's there's two levels of this. So you've got the full naked neck. They've got 2 copies of the gene, and they will be completely naked from the neck up. You'll be completely bare head, look like a turkey, and they'll be pretty sparse feathered the rest of their body. And you get the ones that have what they call a bow tie, where they've kind of got that little beard right there. And the bow tie ones have 1 copy of the gene. 1 copy of that gene makes them more efficient as meat birds. Now, if you just breed it to a regular chicken, you're going to have a mix. You're going to have like roughly half come out as regular looking chickens, half come out as the naked necks. And if you get really lucky, maybe you'll get one that has the full 2 copies of the gene, but probably not until you start crossbreeding that back in. You got to be breeding naked necks to get that. So I'm finally to that point where I've started to see some that have both copies. And the sad part is the one I got that I really wanted to keep as a breeder was such an asshole rooster I had to cull him. So but either way, they've been awesome birds. They actually lay fairly well. I probably get, I'd say average 5, maybe 6 eggs per hen a week, which is really good as far as chickens go. And, it may take them 3-4 months to get up to size, but they'll come out a decent sized meat bird. So, but they're tough as nails. Like I never lose them to just fall at the random falling over dead bullshit that I used to a lot of times with other chickens. So I'd say I probably have about from hatch till like laying, I probably have 95% survivability now.
That's pretty good
with chickens. Yeah. So I've switched to that, and then ducks. I'm big on ducks. I love raising ducks, both regular mallard breed ducks and Muscovy ducks for different reasons.
Nice.
But I love duck eggs. I mean, they're fucking awesome.
Right.
They're so much better than a chicken egg. But ducks aren't. I keep chickens around because ducks aren't that good at scratching and turning compost. Ducks, I think, are absolutely superior when it comes to meat production, though. If you're looking at raising meat, from poultry, get some Pekin ducks. Don't worry about Cornish cross. For one, duck's just better. If you've eaten farm raised duck,
yeah.
I don't know about you, but it's tastier. The other thing is,
I just had a friend randomly text me and just go, "Don't listen to that man about Brahmins."
Oh shit! No. Got some bad Brahmins, I guess, huh? Well, it does depend. It does depend on your stock too, because it's like with any breed, there's going to be variations. Just the ones that I've got my hands on have been great birds. I've actually got some straight Brahmins still that are like the mothers of a lot of what I've got now. But the crosses for sure have been fucking phenomenal. So
there's something to be said about that hybrid vigor. Like F1 crosses are solid.
Absolutely, absolutely,
because they just have the qualities of both animals.
Well, they have the qualities of both of them, and they have more genetic diversity right off the bat than you can pretty much get any other way within a species. So they're going to be healthy. It's well known. Pretty much any animal, if you've got very distinct, pockets and you breed them together, their offspring are going to do better than either of the parents.
Well, it's like you see that in dogs too. Like it's like you see a golden retriever that makes it to 7, and then you see that mutt that you couldn't even guess what's in that, and that thing's going to live to like 15. Like
easily, yeah. And you see it in all different kinds of breeds. That's why it's popular to cross in. That's why Brangus is such a popular cross.
Yeah.
Because, the longer you breed something, and the only way we can keep a breed alive is by very tightly regulating its traits. So they, by nature, become inbred, which comes along with problems, and you eliminate a lot of those problems that hold them back when you introduce another breed. So, but as far as the ducks go, so Muscovy ducks was kind of like one of the first things I did other than chickens. I started looking for them, had a hard time finding them, finally found some. There were some adventures in that for sure, but I've enjoyed having them around mainly just for bug control, and they're just cool birds. Like if you've ever been around them, they don't behave like any other kind of poultry. They have their own weird little thing. They all bob around and huff, and they're like little puppy dogs sitting there panting and chatting with each other, and they're so animated.
I know. That is the one thing I miss about having birds. It's just watching them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love it.
They make a cigarette break entertaining, because you could just be sitting there and just be like, these little shits.
Oh yeah.
What are you doing? Like,
what is going on? Exactly.
Yeah. But also I need them more now. I plan on doing like a bit of a mobile setup with them in the cow pasture, just to start spreading out all that manure and get all that sorted out. Because it's
like birds.
Yeah, because it's like in the pasture I'm working on now, it's had cows and a horse in it. So it's just like I'm tripping over piles everywhere. Like, and it's like, all right.
It'll get there. But no, the chickens are great for that. Turkeys too. Turkeys are pretty
Turkeys are awesome. I love that. Yeah. Well, so it went from I'm not doing birds this year to I ordered. I did see Lisa down here. What'd she say? Lisa says we have barnyard mixed chickens, the best sitting hens in the game fowl hen. She'll pull a knife on you if you get close to her chicks. That's awesome.
They're tough. That's another great thing about Muscovies. Honestly, I should mention that. Yeah. They are the best mothers of anything when it comes to birds. I don't try to let them raise chickens because that can get confusing for the birds occasionally.
Right.
But they do if you put an egg under that thing, it's going to raise it, and it will mother the shit out of that. Nothing is going to mess with it, and it will raise it until it's able to go do its own thing. They are amazing mothers, and they have such a long incubation cycle that you can pretty much you could hatch geese under a Muscovy, you could hatch regular ducks under a Muscovy. I had one freak colder winter here fairly early on. I mean, it was down, not bad, but for here, it got down in like the teens overnight. And this duck, I had a bunch of freaking regular domestic ducks that had hatched in an incubator around the same time. And they were kind of in a brooder at the time, but I decided this was dumb because I've got a Muscovy that has like 5 of her own.
Right.
So let me just let her kind of mother them. And she took them under her wing like right away.
Right.
So it gets cold. I had this like chicken tractor type thing. It was really just like 3 cattle panels put together in like a triangle, with some ends on it. And I ended up covering it up with tarps and blankets and stuff, and ran like a candle in like a pot in there to just try to keep her a little bit warm. But it was still like 20 degrees in there. She had 27 ducklings underneath her wings. Every single one of them survived.
That's awesome.
Kept them all alive, and you couldn't touch those damn things. She wouldn't let you.
God,
no. And she's just a great mother. So, and they're still that way. So I keep them around for that purpose among others.
Right.
Regular ducks, though, shit. I know you're not a big fan of keeping them around, but
I get it though.
I started off with all kinds of different fun breeds, like the different little specific egg-laying breed ducks and everything like that. Like, you don't even need them. You don't need to go get like silver apple yards or Welsh Harlequins or something, because they are the best egg-laying. And in fact, I've had more problems with them because they're smaller, lighter breeds, so they're easier for predators to run off of them.
Right.
I like the heavy breed mallard ducks, like your Ruins and your Pekins, especially the heavy body Pekins. Yeah. Because they grow so fast. They are like the ultimate dual purpose bird to me. They're bomb proof. They don't get sick the way chickens do. They don't mind if the pen's kind of wet and soggy during the spring. They love it. In fact, they are big enough that unless you've got a massive raccoon or a dog or something that's predating on you, you're not really having too much problem with them. Hawks can't even touch them. Those damn things will be a full-size meat duck at 12 weeks old.
Oh, absolutely.
And listen, I'm like, why would I raise?
I'm not saying anything bad about them. I think they're great. Like, I get it. I get it 110%. I just hate them. Like,
I get it.
I've done it.
I understand.
Sent the postcard. I don't need to go back. Like,
right. I enjoy the ducks more than
the only time I would consider it is on like a mobile pen setup. Like, I would do ducks in that kind of setup, because
for me, the reason it works fairly well for me. If I had to do more of the mobile setup type thing, I would hate it. I hate tractors. I understand why we do them. I get the utility. I get putting birds in a place for a reason. But I don't want to move a fucking tractor every day. And I just know myself enough and I've got enough other stuff going on. I'm not going to move it every day, and then I'm going to have scorched earth in a spot. I just know this, so I try to set things up to what's going to work for me. So I've mostly got about the 1.5 acres, 2 acres that's around the house where I keep the majority of poultry, fenced off to keep the poultry in, and fenced enough to keep them off my fruit trees and things like that.
Right.
Most of the time. And I've got because we've got pretty big predator issues here, especially overnight. I've got several large coops that I have predator proof to the max. And they're trained. They go in the coop at night and they roam the yard during the day. So they come out and they keep my pest load very low. I don't have much for insect problems around the house. I don't have mice. I have very few snakes that make it up around the house. And I don't have grass either. So, but they keep up with the yard for the most part. And it's entertaining. It's right out here. So I don't have to do a lot with them other than make sure they've got water, feed, and everybody goes back in the pen at night. So, and when you start with them young and they know that's the routine, I get fed in the pen. They're waiting at the door when it comes time.
Exactly.
So, but what I was going to say with ducks, as far as like your laying breeds and stuff, yeah, they're great. If you want a bird that spits out 7 eggs a week routinely, that's awesome. But the pecans lay as well or better than my chickens.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
and they lay huge freaking eggs.
Yeah.
It's like your average duck lays better or as well or better than your like high-end laying chicken breeds.
Well, yeah, because there's so much more
your laying ducks just lay all the time and they don't stop.
Right. Exactly.
With ducks though is chickens, you've got an expiration period unless you want an expensive pet, and that's fine if you do. I've got a few that it's like, all right, you've earned your keep, you can stick around.
Exactly.
But you got like what, 2 years out of a chicken before it's just laying so sporadically. It's just
I would say 2. That's pretty accurate. Like I was gonna like try and push and go like 2.5, but it's like no, it's 2. Like
ducks are born with something. I might have the number wrong. It's something like 5 times as many ovum. Yeah, because that's how birds are. That's all pretty much animals are. You're born with the number of egg cells that from birth that you're ever going to have. Chickens, I forget how many they have. There's numbers somewhere, but it's like 5-10 times as much that a duck has. A duck will be laying regularly at 5 or 6 years old. They just don't slow down. So they're productive in that way.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like I said, being where I'm at I'm on the wet side of Texas. I am not out the day. I say Texas, everybody thinks tumbleweeds and desert. No, I'm in this is like Louisiana out here. It's swamp half the year. That can be hard on chickens. They are not a wet weather bird. And there's times of the year, especially around hurricane season, you can't keep a fucking pen dry if you tried. So it gets to be difficult on chickens. That's why I've had to work so hard to actually get decent, genetics that are going to be able to survive my climate. Ducks, it's like easy mode for me.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Cayuga and Swedish. Yeah, I've got some Cayuga and Swedish actually, and they're intermixed with all the barnyard now as well. So
just mayhem over there.
They've just all become this just random mix of, but it's kind of cool because there's a lot of variety in there too.
Because you can see all the different things too. Like you can look at one and go, "That all right? I know what you are." Like
exactly.
Yeah, we had the conversation the other day of what we were doing for birds, and I don't know. I ordered 10 turkeys today. I don't. The woman at Clark's was like, "Listen, you don't have to take them, but this will give you a week to think on it. I could sell them. I honestly not worried about it.
I don't want or need more turkeys, but I might have them soon. I don't know. We'll have to see. I've got bronze, not the broad-breasted, but like the old-fashioned bronze. That somebody had basically given me some eggs for a while back, and it was one of those hatch these out, keep half of them, give the other half back to us, and then life situations kind of changed, and they didn't take them. So I ended up with some extra turkeys, and I've had like 6 turkeys running around here. Lost one to a predator. I think I've got 4 hens right now and a tom. I lucked out because out of the 6 that actually hatched, I had 1 tom and 5 hens.
Oh.
I'm like, holy crap! What are the odds? Yeah, I know. This is great. So they're awesome birds. And you know how turkeys are; they follow you around like dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so the hens, of course, this time of year are super broody. So finally found they had a nest off in the blackberry bush. Actually picked a really good spot, but I was like, okay, guys, I'm not letting you guys all sit here on a nest every night and die. So go in there, flush them out, and it's like a pile of 3 turkeys sitting on top of each other. We're trying to hatch a collective nest. Get in there, and of the ones that weren't broken, I had 18 fucking eggs that all candled as like they were not even developing yet. So who knows? They're sitting in the incubator. I'm pretty sure my turner's done. I got to remember to go out there and turn it once or twice a day. So we'll see. I'm like, I don't need them, but it's that's or I feed the eggs to the pig. So I might be selling some turkey poults coming up in a month or 2. We'll see.
So Lisa's down here asking why we're friends because she likes to be paid in bulk.
Kyle's like an angry old butcher. He's get off my lawn with
exactly. Well, Blake's Acres over here, they followed it up with, which I agree with. They raise pecans and rowans, and it's a love-hate relationship. He hates processing them. I
agree.
hate
I agree.
processing ducks. That is,
I do too.
and that's like where it comes from with sheep too. I don't know why, because sheep are easy as shit to do. I hate
They're all so
processing them.
easy.
I don't know. I don't know why. I just hate it.
Aside
But
from the work.
ducks is like an all day thing. Like,
yeah, they are. They are. And it sucks because I love duck fat. It's like the best tasting fat in the fucking world. But like I said, I don't raise specifically with meat in mind. And I hate processing poultry so much that when I do end up processing them, half the time I'm like, I don't even have time to pluck this damn thing. So I end up sacrificing skin, or I'll just take the time to pluck the breast and leave skin on the breast meat. And then the rest of it, I'll just skin it. That I have, though, a couple of times taken the duck, skinned it, and then taken the skin. I mean, whatever feathers came out easy. Taking the skin, put it on a fucking cookie sheet rack or like a drying rack or whatnot in the oven with like a pan underneath of it, and just put it on low and render the fat out. Just not hot enough to burn feathers because you don't want that smell.
No, you don't want that smell. But no, that would absolutely work.
Duck fat melts so easily. It's like 85, 90 degrees. It's like liquid. So you're running it in the oven at like the lowest setting with the door open for a while and just collecting the duck fat, you know? And I'll tell you what, ducks are way easier to process if you skin them.
At that point, it's nothing. It's super easy. But it's
same way I do chickens.
And that skin. That's what you want. Like, that's why we do it, kids. It's why we come to the game.
Luckily, the duck breast itself is not nearly as hard to pluck. It's mostly down.
Yeah.
So you can go in there with your thumbs, pretty much pluck that out, and then I'll do the same thing on Muscovies. Just cut out the actual breast because I'll just part them out with the skin on, and then I'll just skin the rest of the damn duck. And most of the rest of that's going in the crock pot or something anyway. So
yeah, Blake's the Acres was talking about doing the wax method. I've done that a bunch of times. Have you done that?
I've done it before. It definitely helps. If you're going to pluck, you almost have to do the wax method on a duck.
Yeah.
You know, like your regular plucking is just not going to cut it.
No.
I don't have a plucker either, and I don't want one. So that's a lot of it, you know, because if I get a plucker, if I get a mechanical plucker, I'm going to have to do more birds.
I'm the same
at that point, I'm committed. I just don't want it.
Yeah. Me and a buddy had talked about going in on one, and I think that might be the best of both worlds because I'll have full access to one. But hey, the other person who went in on it with me has it, and I can't be hired to do any of those. So,
yep. Well, and then I mentioned turkeys. I've got those. I love the turkeys. They're awesome. They're stupid as shit sometimes, and they're great at finding ways to die, especially when they're young. But I love the turkeys, and they're so good at like eating ticks and all kinds of shit. Everybody talks about how they'll save the possums. They eat so many ticks. They don't. They eat the ticks that they end up on them.
Right.
You want something to kill ticks? Turkeys and guineas.
Oh my god.
Chickens less so. They will spend all day just hunting down
hammering them.
Yeah, just absolutely. And they're awesome with it. And they're so cool. Turkeys are just the biggest goofballs, you know. And they follow you around. And like I said, if I walk around, it's like I got an army of turkeys that follow me and do my bidding. It's crazy, you know. Which, by the way, that's a trending TikTok thing. The chicken army. Check that out.
I just saw a couple the other night. I was like, this is fantastic.
That was fucking hilarious. It was, yeah. People just like threatening each other with their chicken armies. Yeah. Right. Anyways, the other big thing I've got as far as poultry, though, is going to be geese. And that was kind of an unexpected thing. And that went off the rails quick. So I've got family around that helps out with a lot of the shit when I'm busy, you know. So if I'm not here, well, somebody's got to take care of the birds. Well, geese in particular are way easier to get attached to than other poultry. They're way more intelligent. They're way more personable. They've got way bigger personalities. And I equate them on the intelligence level as smarter than a dog. And that's saying something because I've had some pretty smart dogs. I didn't know this until I actually helped kind of nurse back to health one that ended up being imprinted on people at a young age, had to be raised inside, bad splay leg issue, decided to see if we could help it out. If they had the vocal capabilities of a parrot, they would be talking like a parrot. Like they will try to mimic human speech. They just aren't
That's super
capable
funny.
of making those sounds. It's crazy. Super. I mean, like learning games and shit. It's freaky how smart they are. So they became pets. They became pets. Never processed a goose out here. It's not happened. They've got names. They know their names, and they all know each other's names. So you can walk out in the yard and you can yell at one particular one that's acting a fool, and they all stop and look at it. You know, they all know. You know, so and it started off with a couple of them. The idea was, hey, you know, I hate mowing, so why don't I get something that eats grass out here?
Right.
And I've already got birds, so hey, a couple of geese. And then it was fun to let them hatch some eggs. Great. And then it's a lot of people get geese and don't know what to do with them, or they can't handle them, or hey, after a hurricane, this goose ended up displaced and randomly somewhere in somebody's backyard that lives near a lake.
Right.
So the rescues came in, and then next thing you know, I had like 20 geese and no grass. So it's pared down. There's been some losses and stuff, but I think I've got about 15 right now. And
right. That's a lot of geese.
It's a lot of geese. It's a lot of geese, but they are very entertaining, and I enjoy having them out there. They're so full of personality and everything. So to me, that's the trade-off, you know. And there's one that we had for a while that was actually killing snakes. Like, it was the craziest thing. And if you didn't see it with your own eyes, you wouldn't believe it. But it would actually grab a snake. It'd like find a copperhead, grab it by the tail, sling it around in a circle, and throw it at a tree to kill it. Yeah.
What?
I know. Freaking crazy. So
you're raising goose assassins somewhere in Texas?
Yes. Goose assassins. Yeah. Oh, and the best part is people are so terrified of geese. There's such a stigma around them. Like everybody's either got a story of how they've been attacked by a Canada goose, which are not even the same species.
No.
Very different. Or my grandpa used to have a goose, or I've heard some stories about how geese are so scary. And it's all bluff. It's all intimidation. You know, they will back the fuck down. Very rarely do you have a goose that is actually going to stand up to a grown-ass man.
Right.
But people are so terrified of them, nobody wants to come in my yard and fuck with me. No. Because they are way more intimidated by a flock of geese than they are dogs. And it's great.
I get it, though, because it's like, what is one of the geese weigh? Like, average live weight?
Probably 20 pounds.
20 pounds. All right. You have 15 of them all coming at you at the same time. I don't care. I've seen
usually
people
don't get bombed by them all.
I've seen people like not enter rooms because there's like a house cat. Like, I don't care who you are. If all of a sudden, if 15 geese came up to me and I know exactly what you're saying, I would still be like, get out of here. Like,
it's very rare that you've got that sort of situation. Most of the time, it's because they'll pair off. It's a gander and a goose, and the goose is going to go try to start a nest, and he's going to go. And even if she's not laying or whatnot, they get in that broody mode. And this is my nest, and I'm going to sit here. You may have to go and gather them and make them go into the pen at night. But that gander is going to stick around. He's going to hang out and just kind of guard. And his job is going to be to either intimidate you away from her or distract you. So if you come near, he's probably going to come at you head down, hissing, acting all tough. And for me, and I'm just like, ooh, tough guy, what you going to do?
Right.
You know, and they'll back right down. You know, it's like anything. It's kind of like with dogs. People, if you react in fear and you run away from that goose, guess what? He knows. And as soon as you turn your back, he's coming for your ass. If you stand up to them, they'll probably back down. So if they know right away, and these are animals that I'm around, I interact with daily. They know me. To them, I'm part of the flock. So it's a little bit different. Right. But yeah, you usually don't have a mob of geese attacking people. If I could train them as a mob to all charge people, that would be awesome. I just haven't figured that out yet.
Amazing.
You
got to work on that.
But I'll tell you what, geese, they don't lay a ton. They really don't. They lay mostly seasonally. I've got one or two that are just monsters and lay like consistently. And they only lay about every other day. I think the cycle is something like 18 hours.
Have a good night, Rachel.
Later, Rachel.
Yeah.
But they're fucking phenomenal, dude. If you like duck eggs, it's like a duck egg, but it's like 4 duck eggs in one.
Oh my God.
They're huge. They're huge. Like And that's Brian and Corey. I gave them a couple. They're awesome. They're great eggs. When you crack it open, the yolk itself is the size of a chicken egg in the shell.
Holy crap!
Yeah, it's like the volume equivalent of 5 chicken eggs.
That's insane.
That's and their shells are like ridiculously thick. You feel like you're eating this dinosaur egg. It's awesome.
That's
like
cool.
One omelet from one egg of those. It's like you better be hungry.
Yeah. Blakesley Acres put up some numbers. He's doing like 500 birds this year, but he's talking about how
good on you, man. I don't want to. I don't want to do 500 birds.
No, but if you are raising that number, even if you're raising 100 birds a year, invest in the plucker. Because you use it once, maybe twice a year.
Yeah, if you're intentionally doing birds with meat in mind, you need a plucker.
You need one
to make it make sense.
Like you want to start
either need one or access to one.
Yeah. It's chicken processing day still haunts me. That's why I haven't done them in years.
No, like, I try to avoid going into it on purpose on the meat side because I'm like you, like 5 roosters in, I'm covered in blood and feathers, and I've got a giant mess, and I'm frustrated because I just put 20 fucking pounds of meat in a cooler, and in the same amount of time and cleanup, I could have hung an entire steer in a cooler somewhere and have it aging.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I want to leave work at work. All right. Like
Exactly. So it's like culling birds is always something I put off longer than I need to. It's just I hate doing it, but and with ducks, you have no choice. You've got to cull extra males. That is the thing. So that's always a constant battle when I do get new stock going, and that's part of why I enjoy the ducks. I think more than the chickens is I have to refresh stock less often. Like chickens, if you're going to be sustainable with it, you're hatching chicks every year. Which means you're culling chicks every year. You're culling chickens every year. You have to. It's just a part of it. Ducks, I can go 2-3 years, maybe 4 before I feel like I need to start hatching some of these because I'm losing enough or they're starting to age out. So, but no, if your goals are meat, plucker, please save yourself.
Yeah, you have to.
I would never, ever consider doing like a pasture poultry type operation without a plucker. No. And the sad part is, unless you're in an area where, like I know Rachel has a guy, unless you're in an area where you've got a good poultry processor close by, that's affordable, you're probably going to be processing by yourself. Most people, the amount of people who ask me about, do I know anybody processing poultry?
And listen, I was the same person. Back when I was doing it, I was the person going, "Hey man, what are you doing this weekend? You want to come up and see some cool shit?" It's like, this is going to be the worst day of your life. Thank you for coming. Here's beer. Like,
exactly. And it's just a miserable experience. I mean, it's a great skill, and I'm all for it, and I love fucking eating chicken. Exactly. I just don't. It's just I'm at a place I don't want to do it.
No. And for me, the game changer on it is I need them for more than one thing. Like,
right.
I need the meat. I also need my pastures turned, and like I'd like to have eggs again. Like that's been annoying. Like I have 3 people around me that I could text right now and probably have eggs in an hour. But I'm like, I just want my own eggs. Like shit.
Well, and it comes down to what people's goals are. If it was just I wanted eggs, I would probably have 2 or 3 duck hens and some quail. Yeah. And I would have all the eggs I'd ever want and on minimal work, But like you said, the chickens, they're so useful for turning compost and doing other chores and stuff. So poultry it's like anything. They've all got a job. And if they don't have a job other than being meat, I don't keep them.
No, neither do I. So the next part of this that I want to try out is, what is like your plan? Like, what is the one thing that's in your head? It's constantly in your head, but you never do it because it's like, I can't get into that right now. Like, what is the project? Because I know you got
project. Yeah, I think the next big project that I need to get done that I know it's been putting off because it's just a big thing, but if I had to pick one thing, it'd probably be a new pig enclosure. Not just having some pasture area, because right now, what I've had to do the last couple years is mostly just been in a pen, just due to there is no way I'm getting pasture set up to be pig tight and not have to be constantly chasing pigs in the woods. So that's minimized how much I've raised. And you raise pigs in a pen long enough, you need to move it. You can't just keep, you get a certain point that needs to become a garden. It's time. But like I said, I don't want to get more pigs, add to the mess. I have one pig I don't want to get rid of because he's just really good natured and he eats all my shit. But I want to have some pasture space, ideally cordoned off to where I can rotate and paddock shift at least a little bit. But the other big thing is I want a dedicated farrowing area because I have done some breeding in the past. I don't want to breed large breed pigs. I want to keep the smaller breeds myself because it's just more sustainable. I don't have to for myself put a 300-pound pig in the freezer every year, I can do that. I can just buy weanlings and raise one up, and I'm fine with that. But I did enjoy raising the smaller breeds like potbellies and American guinea hogs. They don't eat much. They're easy on the landscape, and they're kind of fun. I like having them around. But I had terrible time with piglets because I was just letting them be natural mama, and you know how that can go. That can go bad. It often did. So
I'm about to find out.
I've had a few. Honestly, my potbellies were, especially a couple of them, were great mothers. In fact, they fostered a few of the other breeds quite often. But in fact, the potbellies might have been too good of mothers because, I ended up with a shitload of them at one point. But I could have done a lot better if I'd had a dedicated area set up for those mamas and be able to not chase them out in the woods somewhere or out in the corner pen and set it up where they decided to make their little nest. I want to be, she's going to be popping pretty soon. She needs to go over there. So,
well, that's what I'm in the middle of right now.
Make my life so much easier.
Oh, yeah. Because
I don't want to commit to getting more pigs and starting that up. I have done so much. And I think that everybody's done this when you start getting into homesteading. The number fucking one thing everybody does is you go out and you get the animal and then you make the shit for the animal. It tells you not to do that, but we all fucking do it.
Doesn't work.
Right. It's a bad idea. I don't want to do it again where I get the pigs before I have the infrastructure. I've learned the value of the infrastructure. I've learned what things I do need, what things will benefit me to actually have. So I want to build the infrastructure right now that I've made the mistakes and then get the new stock. So that's the next big project, I think.
Yeah. Because I'm in the middle of that right now. Because I have this 3-acre pasture I'm doing that I still have to run electric and get everything tested and cleaned, good to go. And then I have to now build another boar pen on the other side of the property because he's already broken through electric, woven wire,
You just got to keep him a little farther from them girls. Keep that
exactly.
Just a touch. Yeah, he's too motivated.
He's he's scratching off all the hair on the top, and he's got a shit ton of hair. So now he just has this bald spot right here.
Yep. I had a very secure pen. Well, for the most part, very secure for potbelly pigs that I was keeping my boar in. I mean, he was an acre away from where I was keeping my sows, and he's still got in the habit of breaking out. And I finally ended up having to put him in the freezer because I just couldn't stop him. I mean, to the point where he was straight up just lifting gates off the hinges and shit. Just you're talking an 8,500-pound pig, and he's just breaking everything I can throw at him. But it's amazing how strong they are, even the smaller ones.
He's a big boy. He's probably he's got to be 400 pounds. With 6-inch cutters.
As a butcher, I love the big pigs. I absolutely love cutting them up. I love doing all the fun cuts and everything. But as for me, myself, homesteading or whatnot, small breed all the way for sustainability. They're so much easier. They eat so much less. They're so much easier to handle. And I never even bothered with castrating pigs at all, ever. Yeah. I would wait until pretty much the males, before they could get old enough to start breeding their sisters, would all end up in the crock pot, and they were like a big rabbit.
Yeah.
It's like perfect, you know? So, and you always have way more pigs than you need. So I would just cull all the males I didn't want to keep, raise the sows up. If it looked like a really good sow, I might keep her as a breeder, but let them get some size, and then they turn into chops and roasts, and everything else turned into sausage or whole roasters. So
yeah, it is just funny how it turns out is you'll never have enough enclosures.
No, not ever. And as soon as you think you do, you can build 3 or 4 extra enclosures just in case you need to quarantine an animal. Those will all be filled up. And because stuff happens, either something gets hurt, things breed more than you expect them to, somebody gifts you an animal that you feel like you just
are always the worst. It's like
it always happens,
they feel so good about themselves for gifting you an animal, and you just go, you son.
Because there's always these charity cases of like somebody's life situation changes, and they've got to get rid of that animal, or somebody has an animal in a bad situation, and you end up taking the damn thing. It'll happen. No matter how much you do to try to avoid it, you're going to end up with somebody else's charity case animal because you have animals and you know how to keep them alive. So you're the guy.
Well, exactly. It's funny. You reach a certain point in like your experience with homesteading or farmsteading or like just animal husbandry of having animals, where all of a sudden it's like a month where all of a sudden 6 people reach out. Oh, my sister's cousin's ex-boyfriend's niece has this horse, and he's so sweet, and he just needs a. Or it's, hey, I just dropped 5 chickens off in your driveway, and it's like, you did what?
Yeah, and then you get the jackasses that are like, oh, I've got extra roosters. Let me just throw them over the fence here because they've got birds. Thanks.
Although I will say, this is pretty funny. So we did guineas last year. We did guineas and geese last year. And we did not finish the year with guineas or geese or turkeys of any kind. But I was moving everything from the brooder to the stall that like my chicken coop's in, or like my winter coop.
Yeah.
And one of them just got loose, and I was chasing it around the barn, and it just went out the bottom of the door, and it was gone. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll never see it again. Like, it is what it is.
Just gone. Yep.
Someone who lives very close to me pulled in the driveway one day, and he goes, hey, what is that? And he pointed to the other guineas that were running around. This was like months later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, those are guinea hens. And he goes, I think I have one of yours. And I'm like, okay. And I played completely stupid because at this point I had already decided I hate these goddamn birds.
Fuck guineas.
And I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. No, I lost one a couple months ago as a chicken. I just figured it died. And apparently it shacked up in someone close to me's house or like shed.
Yeah.
And just kind of lived there. And I saw him he's like, oh, my wife likes it. She calls it birdie, blah, blah, blah. I think we're going to try and get it in the coop. I'm like, go for it, man. I don't care. Like, because at first he's like, oh, if I get it, can I bring it back? And I was like, I guess so, man. What's another one at this point? I don't care.
You want more? I'll give you. You can.
Yeah, exactly. I think I said that. I was like, I'll give you the rest of them.
Yeah, take them, please.
But
oh my God, there's the only bird that's dumber than turkeys.
I was out doing pasture all this week, and all I hear from the wood line is I'm like, that son of a bitch made it through the winter.
Wow. God, and when they get together, that noise they make, holy shit. Just
it's crazy.
It's deafening and annoying. So like we're got the shop there, little ranch out there, their next door neighbor always has a shitload of guineas. And I swear they must spend a fortune on guineas because after 2 months or so between the road and the coyotes, they're all gone. And then suddenly there'll be 45 more fucking guineas. So I don't know they're not cheap, but
no,
I guess they got a guinea supplier or something.
I was going somewhere after work, like it was close to where the shop was, and my boss gave me the address, and I put it in my GPS because it was still in town, but I didn't know where it was. So it sends me up this access road that I find out 3/4 of the way up is closed, and 3/4 of the way up it's closed, and I'm like, awesome, fantastic. And I'm looking at the sign, and I just turn like this, and there I am right in front of a trailer in the middle of the woods, like on this access road, and there had to have been 200 guineas, and they were all staring directly at the truck. Like every single one of them was just. I put that thing in reverse and backed down like a quarter mile to get to the next spot to turn. Like I was like, nope, nope, I'm not messing with that place. No, no way.
They're just so yeah, and they'll do that. They'll all run out in the road and then just stand there. And like I've even gotten to the point where I'm like, look, if you're not going to move, there's going to be feathers flying. Like I'm sorry, but I'm driving, and you're in the road, and they'll just stop. It's like worse than a deer.
It's
I've literally had them run underneath the tires as I'm driving. So it's just not just me. All up and down that road, you can't drive down that road without seeing dead guineas daily until they run out of guineas, and then it'll be a week of guinea free, and then 45, 50 more guineas. Who the fuck is hatching guineas?
I don't know. Blakesley Acres, we will definitely give you a welfare check on that.
There's never baby guineas running around. There's all full grown. So I'm like, what portal do you open and release guineas from?
A guinea portal.
I've never had luck with them. I've never had luck with them myself. I've tried a couple of times because they're such a fad bird. Everybody's like, oh, they're the best for insect control. They eat so many ticks. They kill snakes, Right on paper.
Right.
So every time I've gone out of my way to buy guinea keats, which are not cheap, by the way, I usually spend average $10-15 a keat around here. So I've tried.
Do you want to know what they were selling Narragansett turkeys for today?
Huh.
$18.79.
Nice. Yeah, I was kind of thinking if these turkeys are hatching out, because it's a heritage breed too.
Yeah.
If they start hatching out, or if I'm just looking hopeful, I'm going to start trying to pre-sell them for about $25 a poult.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to sell them for just hatchery price if I'm fucking raising them.
No.
And that's actually pretty in line with like I'll look on Craigslist around here, $20-25 for anything up to about 3 months, and then it goes up from there.
Yeah.
So the guineas I've tried. I actually hatched some at one point. I bought some keats, and I'd raise them up, and I'd get them to that point where I'm like, okay, it's time to go outside to a pen. You're not old enough to just go, but you're old enough to be outside of the brooder. You don't need heat anymore. So the first time around, I put them in this one pen that is as secure as shit. I've raised so many ducks in that pen, never had a problem. I mean, it's basically built out of pallets, wrapped in wire, has netting over the top. Nothing fucks with that pen.
Right.
Get them out there early one morning. I come out at the end of the night, and it's like a murder scene. Everything in there is dead. What the heck? Raccoon got in there. Raccoon prints everywhere. Just killed everything. Like, what the heck? Never had a problem in that pen the whole time. Ripped a hole through, just like ripped wire and everything like that. And I'm talking like not just chicken wire, like ripped hardware cloth off to get in this pen. Like, holy crap. So I boarded it up. I got some freaking like 3/4 inch plywood, covered the hole and everything, set it all up. A couple months later, I try again. Get them outside, and it's like a curse. Not even 8 hours, everything's dead. This time I had turkeys in there with them and freaking pea chicks. So expensive freaking birds. I go out there, the only thing left alive is one fucking pea chick, which ended up dying of loneliness later on because they do not do well alone. Oh. Everything was dead. But this time, it wasn't the raccoon. It was possum tracks everywhere. I've never seen possums be that aggressive, but whether it was the possum or not, or he had help, I don't know. But it chewed through the fucking plywood in the same spot I'd patched. Like chewed through the plywood to get in to kill these things. I was like, I don't know if it's the sound they make. It's like a dinner bell for all the local wildlife or whatnot. But I guess they sound so annoying. Everything has to kill them that first day.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just it. They are prey and will always be prey.
I mean, chickens, ducks, all turkeys, all kinds of things I'll be fine with. But if I put guineas outside, doesn't matter. I could put them in a freaking steel lockbox and there'll be something out there trying to crack the code on the combination lock to get in and kill these damn things. So I quit throwing money at them, And then now having been on plenty of ranches with people that have flocks of guineas, I hate the birds so much I'll never touch them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Guineas are my sheep, Kyle.
Yeah. No, I get it. Listen, I'm not signing up for him again anytime soon. I got that out of my system. Like,
right. In my opinion, there is nothing a guinea can do that a turkey can't.
No,
if you want something that is going to, and turkeys probably do it better, honestly. If you want something that's going to go as a group and hunt down and kill snakes and eat a bunch of freaking bugs, turkeys will do that.
Right. Well, we're up on an hour here.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking we just wrap it up a little bit and we'll talk for a little while longer.
Whatever, man.
Just kind of plug some of your stuff. I'll plug some of my stuff on here. So go ahead.
Yeah. Just same old. Mostly been working on more social media stuff lately, but I'm still renegadebutcher.com. It's time to, if somebody wants to get on the Seasoning of the Month Club, time to sign up. I usually ship that out in the middle of the month.
I'm on the Seasoning of the Month Club. I forgot about that.
You are. By the way, congratulations. That's the other thing. My last episode 50, that was my big giveaway. And Kyle was actually the one to win twice. You won two things.
I won twice.
Yeah, you did. But yes, 6 months of the old Seasoning of the Month Club that's going to be coming your way. So yeah, you'll be on that shipment. So yeah, and Lisa here too is going to be getting some Seasoning of the Month. So
that's right.
Yeah, awesome shit. Got to get that shit mixed up and everything. But yeah, just been working on that. Had some other odd little consulting projects here this week, and just playing catch up, run around like a chicken with my head cut off. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, all my shit's at renegadebutcher.com. I'm trying to consolidate it all in one place so you don't have to chase me all over the internet.
You can follow me on everything at BackwoodsButcher603, Instagram, TikTok. We're on Nostr. The pub key is down in the description. And also we now have a Telegram group for to funnel people from the YouTube channel or the podcast. So the link to that is actually down in the YouTube description as well. But you can also go into Telegram and search In the Backwoods. So I don't really know what we're doing with that yet. I just kind of made it on a whim. And I was like, you know what? I'll try and do a question of the day a little bit. And we'll see where it goes. A direct spot where I can post all of my videos and stuff like that.
Have a discussion space to
yeah, exactly. If anyone who's in the chat here is in that, I know actually probably most of the people in this chat are in that Telegram group. But
anybody who's listening afterwards, or on the
right, exactly. Yeah, you can go in the Telegram, pop in there. Again, we're just going to talk about meat, like farming, homesteading, just kind of everything that gets talked about on this show. Yeah. If that's what you're into, come in and chat. And also, it's probably going to go off the rails quite often. Keep it muted and just kind of come back and forth. See what happens.
Kyle starts a Telegram group, warns you immediately to mute it.
Right. Listen. You and I both know the people in these groups, including us.
I'm very aware.
I like how it sounds like I'm warning people about kind of the people, the strat. I'm talking about us. Like we are the people in the group.
Absolutely. We are the problem.
Absolutely. But yeah, so
it's a good time.
I'm looking forward to this next step with the podcast and kind of see how it goes. If anyone who's listening wants to be on the show and talk about what they're raising, their farm or anything like that, you can come in. You can find me on Telegram. You can go into the group on that, and then we can figure something out, get a time going. We have Lisa coming on some point soon. I don't think we locked down a date yet to talk about her sheep. I was like, instead of watching me be upset and complain alone about talking about sheep, I'm going to have Lisa come on and explain to me how awesome sheep are, and hopefully she can convert me.
You never know. You might be picking up some sheep after that episode.
Right, exactly. But I want to thank everybody for watching. And I think we're going to keep the name Meet the Critters because I think we're also going to find out most of the farmers and producers and people that are raising these animals are also critters themselves. So
tonight I'm the critter that you met. So
you are the critter. So tonight, I hope everyone got a chance to meet the critter.